as soon as there's a little lag before it actually starts up and everything.
Okay, I think it's working. So, bonjour, everyone. It's Sam coming to you live. And if you didn't know already, I'm here with a guest, John M. Bauer, fellow author today. So, hey, John, how's it going?
Hello, it's going all right. And I'm
Good.
happy to be here.
Glad to have you. Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
Yeah, John is in France, and I'm here in the States. So, coordinating the time zones for this one was interesting, but I think we made it work because we're both here. So, yeah, it's working out well. But yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in and being here today. John is a sci-fi fantasy. I think you told me science fantasy, which is sometimes kind of science fantasy author of a few books, including Maneus and some others, which I'll tell you about today. Maneus is about a generational curse, like I guess like a fantasy magical curse affecting a family, but that involves like some trauma and actual generational trauma and things like that. So I have not read it yet, I confess, but it sounds interesting, and I'll let and tell you about it in a little bit. So as always, I'm gracious and grateful that John is I'm grateful that he has graciously agreed to be with us here today. We answered some more questions. There we go. Yeah, writing is easier than talking. So as always, I have some questions prepared, but let's also make this an interactive interview because if you're watching today, if you're a fan, a reader, a writer, an aspiring author yourself, friend of John's or a friend of mine, I want you to post your questions in the comments for us, and we'll have a good time. Okay. So John, first question I asked, just so everyone at home can get familiar with you, can you just give us an overview of your book, or maybe the few books you've written and kind of the writing work you've done so far, so we can hear about that?
Yeah, sounds good. So I have three books out in the world right now, and they're these three right here. Well, I have Revification, The Snowed, and Maneus, which is kind of the star today, I believe. And so Maneus, this one right here, this tome of a novel, is something that I wrote trying to mimic much more in ancient stories and oral traditions where you have an evil that penetrates generations, and how does one hero fight it via his family. So you have the curse or the trauma that goes from a father to the son to the grandson, and they all have to make incredible sacrifices, and it ends with a lot of tragedy before anyone can find the kind of success, and humanity eventually triumphs. And that's the broad overview of it. And the actual book itself then follows this kind of course where it's divided into the three generations, where you have the first thing, the first part of the book going over how everyone loses, the second part where everyone loses again before you have something triumphant.
Okay, okay. There is some, I mean, you wouldn't don't want to get asked for spoilers or anything, but there's some triumph and hope maybe in the midst of all that trauma. Maybe.
Yeah, because well, if I were making it a more accurate calc of ancient storytelling, then it would have just ended up being that everything sucks and there's no hope in the world. But I like having things be a little super, like something to hope for, right? Like a superhero story. Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, I like superheroes. I like hope.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I understand that too. Yeah, okay. And so it is like kind of kind of a fantasy world. I mean, it sounds like there's a magical curse element in there too.
Yeah.
But it sounds like it's like other than that, maybe a realistic feeling. You're dealing with realistic human drama and emotion and such is what I'm gathering.
Yeah, it's very much, it starts out being something that feels like very modern day, because the beginning of the book is in this completely corrupted city where they have electricity and modern machines and these kind of things, and it's very philosophical where they're sitting around a counter drinking coffee until a villain comes in and disrupts everything, and then you have to have this huge fight. And then it really opens up when you see that the sun starts his life far away in this place, and the whole world is involving magic and this struggle that's been going on for who knows how long, and
Okay.
all that kind of entails.
Well, there's a whole magical world behind what we see.
Yeah, but it starts out very much in a modern setting, which I thought
Okay.
was fun because
Okay.
it kind of catches you off guard when you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. And I think you told me about, remind me, is this part of a series with one of your other books that you've written?
It wasn't originally meant to be a series, but I have just finished a prequel for this called Rayan that I
Okay.
will probably be out in a couple weeks. I
Cool.
was having my sister and my dad and a friend proofread it these past couple of weeks, and I was talking to my dad earlier today because he had just finished going through to the last page. So I
Okay.
wanted to hear his thoughts, and what did he think was bad? What did he think was good? Did he find any egregious typos that need to be fixed before it's printed? And then I get 10 emails from
You gotta watch out for those. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. They say what the best way to find typos in your book is to publish it and wait 2 weeks and then
Yeah.
yeah, no, no.
Or
Yeah.
I used to I've worked in more marketing kind of things or communications, and when you send out an email to thousands of people, you'll get nothing if everything's great and where you're just letting people know. But the second there's a typo or a wrong link, you're going to get like more emails than you've ever gotten in your life.
Yep. Yep. Which could be the marketing strategy. I don't know, but
Yeah.
okay, yeah, we'll talk about marketing a little later because that's
Yeah.
an author's job these days, like it or not, just the way the world we live in. But
Yeah.
um, okay, when does Rayon come out?
It'll probably be about 2 or 3 weeks after. I have
Right.
to, look back over the text and then fight with margins for probably a good week to make sure that it's going to be printed
Okay,
properly, order a proof copy, make sure that I didn't miss anything. And
cool.
then when there's undoubtedly things I've missed, I'll make it go live and then learn about them later.
Yeah, okay, okay. I'm just curious about the titles. Like I guess I
Mhm.
mean Maneus and Rayon, those are kind of
Yeah.
fantasy words.
Yeah.
Are those like significant things in the story, or like
Yeah.
I
They
don't know.
are.
That's like
Because
some cool like inspiration to the title. Yeah, I don't know.
yeah, I spend way too much time researching this kind of things in a very philologist kind of way. So it's
Good.
I look into etymologies and different languages to find these combinations of sounds that sound foreign, but something that feels like it could make sense. Uh, with Maneus, it's a combination of Greek and Sanskrit, and it was a corruption of Manas because I drew a lot of inspiration initially from the Epic of Manas from Central Asia, specifically from Kyrgyzstan for this story.
Interesting.
Um,
Okay. Not
uh,
familiar with that one, I must admit.
yeah, it's a I imagine not a lot of people from the area from Central Asia really are, but
Well, there we go. Yeah.
it's a common story throughout all Central Asia, and it was the name that I thought was really cool. And then I wanted to adapt it, make it more my own, and I had this rabbit hole of looking through words in Sanskrit and Greek for the whole family line, actually. Where Rayon is more obviously based off of the Titan Rhea.
Okay. Okay. There you go. Hey, it's yeah, yeah. I'm a little more familiar with Greek, but
Yeah.
not yeah, not everything. So anyway, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, that those sound. You know, I can see you're being influenced by, or you're specifically taking influence from the epics and trying to make
Yeah.
kind of a modern epic. So that's a cool, a big undertaking, but it's a cool thing you're doing. So
Yeah. What I really wanted to do was to make I wanted it to feel like a modern epic, something that reflects much more. I'm American, and I wanted it to reflect something that could resonate among American hearts, but all human hearts, and while still respecting these traditions.
sure, sure. Yeah, we don't have. I mean, we don't have that many American epics. I mean, we have like the modern ones,
Mhm.
like that people are enjoying. I mean, oh, okay, well, I guess some of those started in Britain, but still,
Mhm.
like Lord of the Rings and contemporary fantasy. But yeah, it's. I feel like our country is ripe for an American epic of our own. So
Yeah, and it's usually in the modern times it'll be much more. It'll be based on more modern mores and trends rather
interesting.
than like oral traditions, right? Like one of the big things with old epics and old um, oral traditions, old epics, ancient epics, all the time, we're saying the same thing over and over again. But the interesting thing here is that because they were spoken, a lot of the things that are lost when we read them is that like, a lot of the repetition and all this kind of thing was meant to be a part of a show, right? You want to see the storyteller recite this thing on the stage,
And
and
that was the art form because they didn't have it.
yeah,
Yeah,
and a lot of the finding the repetitions when you like go through the complicated thing of the family line. It's like how when you watch someone play the blues on stage, they have riffs that they come back to when they get lost in the bars, and that's the way that they find the melody again, and then they play the riff, and then everyone knows what it is, and they can anchor themselves within that thing.
yeah.
Not to I don't mimic it that strongly. Like I don't do the still like a ton of songs and the still like pages and pages of this is
Oh,
Maneus, son of whoever, son of blah, blah. I know I
yeah.
skip that kind of
Other epithets. You know.
but I do love that kind of aspect of uh a book or a story being seen as a performance first and foremost is I
Cool.
like that idea.
Yeah, very good. Okay. I'm curious, how did you get interested in writing this genre, like the fantasy, science fantasy genre, especially? Like, do you have, I mean, do you have favorite books or movies or anything that inspired you? I mean, possibly the Greek myths, but or but go ahead, yeah.
I think the most obvious inspiration for this kind of genre mix that I have is more in video games. It's Final Fantasy, right?
Okay,
Where
okay,
you have mixes of these kind of this epic feeling and sci-fi.
yeah, cool.
Uh, I don't calc it as much as it is, but I mean it pushes me in that direction. I would say.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you're not. Yeah, and influence isn't like you're copying it. It's more like I want to live in this world and I want to explore it more on my own terms and
Yeah.
kind of make something vaguely, maybe an homage almost, but it's like it's your
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Well, you can taste the flavor, but it's still a different dish.
I like that. Good analogy there. You should be a writer. You have a way with words.
Yeah. I never heard that.
Yeah, there you go. No, it's my favorite, but it's a different dish. Okay, nice, cool. Okay, and then well, maybe a similar question I had written down. Um, what are the biggest influences on your writing? Like are there authors you've tried to emulate specifically,
Yeah.
or just I mean whether or not it's conscious, or like what like authors who you would say, hey, this is the kind of thing I want to do.
Yeah. I think the biggest authors who kind of influenced me in that direction as far as style and feeling go for would be Bukowski and Salinger. It's kind of the drunkard's tale that you forget the next day, and then the melancholy of loneliness.
Yeah, Catcher in the Rye kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm also greatly influenced by music. I love music, and I love incorporating kind of lyrical styles into my work. And my biggest influence there is the late MF Doom, if you're familiar with this rapper.
Not sorry.
Oh, yeah. He's a very strange. He's very cryptic in his style, but I like the way that he manipulates words in a way where even if you can't understand what he's saying, you can understand the emotion he's trying to evoke, and I love that.
Sure. Okay. There is, I mean, I know you said you said you don't do all the songs and everything in there, but there's maybe some lyrical, poetical elements. Yeah.
There's some, yeah, but it's not. I also, yeah, I didn't want to make it. I didn't want to scare people away, by
Sure. Do
digging
you do
too
poetry
deep.
at all? Is there poetry, or how does that work in your book?
There's a little bit of poetry. There's not a bunch. It's not like Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit or this kind of thing.
Okay.
Uh,
There are a
there's
few.
there's a few in there. I do in Maneus, especially at the beginning of the Maneus, the thing that I do that's kind of fun is I have quite a few quotes that I found interesting, and it's kind of a way to mimic the idea of like there's a radio playing in the background and explaining the history of where this thing came from and what it means. But that's again mixing this epic style with a much more modern setting.
Sure. Okay. Cool. Yeah. It sounds like you've done your homework and you've been in a lot of different things, and you're kind of, I mean, I guess to an extent we all do this. We all just
Yeah.
pull our cultural influences and the things that have meant a lot to us and put them in a story when we produce that. But I mean, some of us do it more consciously than others, and I think it's good to be aware of what we're what we're bringing into our story and all that stuff.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's an interesting point you talk about this, being conscious of
Yeah.
the influences you're pulling into. Because there was the very specific thing where I tried to forget these influences was with the names, right? So I went through all this trouble of finding specific words and specific languages and mixing them up and corrupting the sound. And then I wanted to forget where they came from, because a name is just a name, right? Even though you have a meaning behind the name, you don't think about that when you think of the name. Like my name is John, but you don't think about its Hebrew origins.
Right.
Yeah.
So you kind of wanted it to be its own thing.
Yeah.
Like okay. Yeah. Like you've taken it from Sanskrit and Greek, whatever else, but you're not really. Yeah. I mean, now
I don't want that to overshadow the fact that it's a person.
Sure. Yeah.
Or character. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. It sounds interesting. I mean, I try to read when I have authors on. I can't read everyone's book, but I try to read some of them. And yours sounds.
Trust me, I don't blame you. It's a very thick book.
Oh wow! How long is it?
It's like 650 about.
Wow. Okay. That's awesome. Is that your first or one of your first books that you published?
This
The
was the
second one?
second one I printed and published.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I do read some books that are that long. I mean,
yeah,
it's hard to get to sometimes, but I just finished one that was
yeah. No, like I said, I don't blame you. It's a thick
yeah.
one.
So I mean, I have not read it yet. That doesn't mean I never will. You know,
Yeah,
we all have huge TBR piles. That's
yeah.
being a writer. But you've piqued my interest, I admit. So,
Yeah, well,
so
that's
there
good.
you go. Yeah, it sounds cool. What are you reading right now? Anything interesting? Do you have time to read?
Well, I was mostly focusing on finishing Rayon was the big kind of thing in my mind at the moment.
Sure.
And now that I just was doing proofreading and trying to make sure that that's all set to go for a release in the near future. Writing wise, the other kind of thing that I want to do is maybe something else in this world of Maneus that I have lying around in a drawer that might be collecting dust.
Yeah.
And I'm not too committed yet, but there's something else that could come out, and there might be an event that I'm joining that would be a good opportunity to
Okay.
release it.
Very cryptic, but well, we'll just leave that one there now. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You can't you don't want to make promises when it's not sure yet,
Yeah, it's very much, I do think it'd be fun. And I have most things ready to go, but I'm not ready to say that definitely I'm doing this.
this is potentially another novel or something.
This one would be more a collection, like an anthology. I can tell you, I'll tell you the general idea is that I would write these kind of farewell things to people who are leaving the company, and they're all in this style of trying to get at, what the person in their heart felt like every day when they were going through the motions of waking up, going into the office, turning on the computer, typing some emails, doing these kind of things, doing whatever their job was, tailoring it to their interests, their desires, their dreams. Um, and then I thought, what if I combine this all into a meta story, right? And you have this, what I call the cosmic janitor, who's sweeping through the office and he keeps finding these letters and he's wondering what's wrong with these people.
Hmm.
And yeah, I think that'd be pretty cool, but it's very, very nascent at the time. It hasn't become
Yeah,
a
I get it.
fully,
I I have all these ideas. Like, I can't really say I'm working on it yet because it's an idea, but
yeah,
it's there and it's somewhere in your head somewhere. So hey,
yeah.
if
Well, I
you
did.
get
You have like a whole pantheon of superheroes.
something like that, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And the problem is they're all in one story, and it was way too long. Um,
Okay.
well, that was one of the problems. So I've had to cut it down and
Oh.
find ways to introduce them and stuff like that. But
I
we're
did. I read the free snippet that you sent out with
oh,
them. You sent
okay.
for
Thank you for reading it. I appreciate it. Yeah,
it was. I liked it. It had this very. It combines grittiness and playfulness in what I thought was fun ways. You had some of the down to earth things that were reminiscent of like early Spider-Man, but the grittiness that is popular right now.
yeah. Thanks. I'm a superhero guy in general, but I definitely am a Spider-Man guy, and so
Yeah.
gotta I've drawn from a number of influences. I mean,
Yeah.
in that genre alone, and
Yeah.
I mean, in some ways, this is my big love letter to Marvel and DC and all that
Yeah.
stuff. But yeah, I've tried to make superheroes who are real characters, which is
Yeah.
real human people, which is popular these days. So,
Yeah.
but I also want mine to be with hope,
Yeah.
not bleak and dark like some of them are.
Hmm.
I mean, there's at least one character who's on the darker side, but like the world and the story is one of hope. So there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. But well, thank you for saying so. But I did, yeah, wasn't planning to give a plug for my novel in here.
Yeah. No, it's
I'm,
fine. I think it's good to learn.
I'm interviewing you, but thank you. I appreciate you reading it and check it out.
Yeah. Well, I always appreciate an exchange of ideas, and
Yeah, yeah,
that's
and
my goofy. That's one of those things that I mean, it's difficult to put into words sometimes, but you probably kind of grasp that my stories are somewhat strange, let's say. But one of the things that I really enjoy is providing a space where people feel comfortable talking about difficult questions.
yeah, yeah. It's the best fiction. I mean, we're all ready to entertain and to tell a good story, but the best fiction I think does more than that. Also, I mean,
Yeah.
and if all it was is a good story, great, nothing wrong with that. But
Yeah.
but a lot of us want to do more and
Yeah.
ask hard questions because that's what stories are about. That's what life is about. And
Yeah.
so, and just to give people space to think, to process some of the ups and downs of life. I mean, it's a little deeper than ups and downs, but some of the big questions of life, like
Mhm.
and the human experience, as they say in the academic classroom. So, yeah,
Yeah, well, especially when you're talking about this kind of adding hope to kind of things with Maneus, one of the big themes that I tackle is this question of the inevitability of nihilism, right? Because an interesting philosophical question that I like to dance around is there is it's hard to logically refute nihilism. There doesn't seem to be a reason to exist, uh, and yet we do. And so, how do we deal with this?
maybe not all of it's logical. Maybe there's more of a
Yeah,
component to that.
yeah, they can the absurdity of it all, but it's
I'm there's there's emotion and for some people spirituality there. I mean, logic is good, but there are dimensions that go beyond logic too.
yeah, and
So
that's
interesting.
what I tend to break it down in a few different segments where you either if you're just following the logic, you you give into despair and you never go back and you're stuck in a hole. Um, an alternate route is you give into hedonism. You say that nothing matters, and that's great. I can do anything. There's no consequence. And the third, much harder one, is to give into hope and be like, this doesn't make sense, but I'm still going to do the right thing.
I like that. Yeah, I like that. That's who I want to be in life, even when that's kind of person I want to be. It's
Yeah.
interesting. If it's okay, I'll give a short example from my novel too,
Go
since we're
ahead.
talking about that. But I do have a character who's like he has mental powers like mind reading and mind control, but he realized he can mentally manipulate emotions, including his own. So
Yeah.
and basically what that turns into is he can turn off his own feelings at will. I'll just go and say that this was born out of my kind of my struggling when I was younger, like when
Yeah.
I was angsty 20 something, I was like, you know, why am I feeling like this? And like why can't I just turn off my feelings of despair or of hopelessness or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, he turns them off. He turns off his own feelings because he wants to be governed by just logic, and he thinks it'll make him a
Yeah.
better hero. It turns him into a villain. Spoilers.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
when he turns off logic, or when he turns off emotion and has just logic, he has no compassion, no humanity, basically. So
Mhm.
anyway, so that's yeah. Cautionary tale: don't turn off your emotions.
Yeah.
Logic is good. The hopelessness is understandable from a certain perspective, but it's not everything. Oh, hold on. I have a guest. Hey, buddy, that is doing a video. Okay, can you get up to mama? I'm sorry, you're sad. Okay, that is on a call, so you have to go up to mama. Okay. Yeah.
It's okay to have a cute interruption. It's like, do you remember there was a meme at the height of the pandemic where someone was getting interviewed for a serious thing on some news channel and the kid busts through the door?
I think I saw that, and it's usually yeah. I don't know if you could see him on screen. I don't usually mind like if I'm on a call, I don't mind him saying hi, but
Yeah.
he he was crying and all that stuff, and I just needed to move on quickly. But okay, yeah. Well, thanks for the allowing the interruption. We do have a question in the chat from Mike. Mike Bauer. I don't know if that's a family member of yours. Um,
Oh yeah, that's my dad.
okay. Oh, John's dad asked, you create alternative existences in your work. Do you think they help readers cope with this existence in this time?
uh, so I imagine he's talking about for me and these kind of things when using the word cope, I think is maybe not the best word because it implies this kind of hiding away from reality in a way where that is commonly the effect that people want from entertainment or media, right? You
Mhm.
the opiate of the masses. And I wouldn't know if it's necessary to cope. What I think is more interesting is just having an open forum is more what I would call the goal that I search for. Uh, or if you're talking about coping in the fact and the weight of existence, the weight of despair that is inherent to existence, if you are trying to logically define your life, that was a mouthful, but I believe you could follow it. I don't think it's about coping about, but it's about learning to have hope, learning that even if things go wrong in our lifetime, it's possible that it could be better for another.
Hmm, I like that. It's yeah, coping it kind of implies just maybe I don't know, just like a stoic like grin and bear it kind of thing.
Oh, yeah,
But
like turning off your emotions, like you were yeah, like
yeah,
Stoicism, like Marcus Aurelius. Like,
but hope is something different entirely. So
yeah, that's kind of, and I think yeah,
it's
this
cool.
kind of the difference between putting a band-aid on and having an actual cure for the malady.
Yeah, I like that. Thanks for answering. Yeah, good question. Thanks for asking. Yeah,
Yeah.
having a good chat. Those of you who are watching, let's see, we've got a few on. Keep posting your questions for John in the chat. I'm gonna keep going too, but I'd love to answer some of your questions. So yeah, we had a cool philosophical discussion. I wanted to talk about some of the like the writing work that goes into it too. I've
Mhm.
asked people like guests have had on before. I've asked them like what's the biggest challenge in their writing, and the number one
Mhm.
I almost always get is finding the time to write. So
Mhm.
I know you're maybe an up and coming-ish author. You've
Mhm.
got a few books out. Probably for most of us, that doesn't mean we're international bestsellers and able to live on our writing yet.
Yeah.
So I think you still have a day job. Um,
Mhm.
so just what else occupies you during the day, and kind of how do you get into the rhythm? How do you make good
Yeah.
time to work
So
on?
I've been a writer by trade for over 10 years now.
Oh, great.
And whether that was writing for podcasts or blogs or for various companies, I was always spending all day writing. And the big thing
So sorry, you're in marketing still, is that right? But
right now, so lately I kind of I've been taking on freelance clients, and then I stopped taking on so many so I could focus on writing novels.
cool.
And that's afforded me the time to really go hard on writing. However, it is not equated to much monetary gain.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Hopefully, hopefully once this video goes viral, everyone will buy your book.
Yeah.
But,
But that was definitely it was one of the realizations I had when I was sitting in an office writing, you know, writing every day for more than 8 hours a day. And I was like, well, I can do this for myself, can't I?
yeah, that's cool. I mean, so I also right now my day job I write for a nonprofit and I enjoy it. It's a good place to work. It's a cause I believe in, but it's not like the writing I wanted to be known for necessarily.
Yeah.
So I love what I do, but I'd also
Yeah.
and I think it's cool that I can say I'm a writer by trade now, but
Yeah.
it's still not a novelist by trade. So we're getting
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
that's kind of the money things. When I call myself a mercenary, right, where I end up writing anything and anything, marketing copy for. It's funny though because you write things about the most unbelievable niche topic you could think about, and then it's called expert content. And I learned about it, the day before on Wikipedia.
Yeah, that's funny how that works. But there's a market for it, and if you and not everyone. I mean, people have reminded me like not everyone is gifted with the words. I mean, there are many things I'm not good at, but words are my thing. And
Yeah,
people who are not
that's
good at words, it's hard for them and stressful for them, and they're like, I don't want to have to do this. I want to hire someone else to do it.
yeah. It
Yeah,
took me a very long time to realize that.
yeah, it's a marketable skill, and
Yeah.
AI is not able to do it yet. It's not.
Oh
It's
yeah,
not
yeah.
the market thing. Kind of depends on what it is, but yeah,
Speaking of despair.
yeah. When we get there. So yeah, yeah, yeah. We're moving toward the robot apocalypse, but we're not there yet.
But I
Uh,
could say a more specific example for Maneus and the Snowed, which is really where I started putting things out there, is because before that I was really keeping it all to myself under this kind of fear of having things be public. Because in among writers, there's this fear that if you're public about your writing, then you can't get an agent, and then you will never make any money, and you're going to be poorer than you already are. um, but I joined this very techie thing called Build Space,
Okay.
and they have this thing called a boot camp in
BUILD.
yeah, BUILD SPACE.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, and it's like a boot camp, what they call in the tech world. And it was you have a very short amount of time to realize a project. But unlike most tech things, they were like you can apply to do anything. And I had my friend who sent me it, and I was like, okay, why not? I'll apply. I'll see what happens. All right, nothing to lose. So I got in, and then I wrote the Snowed in 6 weeks and got it out in a physical copy.
Wow. Okay. That's awesome.
And that was once I did that one time, I realized it's not that scary. Maybe
Yeah. It
I
has
can keep doing this.
there's also something called, I don't know if you've heard of it, National Novel Writing Month or NaNoWriMo. Have you heard of that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'd heard about it.
I
I
just
hadn't ever done that
I
until
had
last year.
a few times, and I mean
Yeah,
it's the goal is to write 50,000 words in 30 days.
yeah,
I mean, and I've also done it where I didn't win, but I didn't get the full goal, but I got something out. And I mean, usually a 50,000 words rush like that is not ready to go to print right away. But
yeah,
the idea is you have something written that you can then take and work with. And so, yeah, the story I'm writing was originally an NaNoWriMo story, or actually it was 2 years because it was longer than 50,000, but still. Anyway,
yeah.
yeah,
But that's good. I mean, yeah, getting that initial spark is really important. And it's
yeah.
funny you mentioned that too, because that was this one, right? Revification started as an NaNoWriMo thing.
Okay, cool.
That's why it's so small. You see,
Yeah. Yeah,
and
I mean, 50,000 is great, but compared to a novel, it's actually not that much. But yeah,
yeah,
um, and okay, so you said you're doing mostly freelance work now.
mhm,
I guess that gives you some flexibility in your schedule to
yeah,
write other stuff, like to work on your novels when you want to. Do
yeah.
you like certain hours a day? Do you like make yourself
I
do
definitely am more
or
productive writing wise in the morning. So I like to wake up early, get some coffee, and write as much as I can until lunchtime, and then I can do other stuff.
that's how I am, or rather how I would be if I didn't have a toddler. But anyway,
Yeah,
yeah, I fit anywhere. So now I write when he goes to bed. But yeah,
yeah,
he's an early riser. But okay,
yeah. To jump, everyone has to find the way to make things work with the life that
for
we
sure.
have.
Sure. I'm just curious. Was it work that brought you to France, or how did you end up? How did you end up
That's a
there?
longer story. The
Okay.
story of
Oh,
my life and where I'm from is that's a story best told over a beer or three. But
okay.
I've
Maybe
been
next
living
time,
in
or next time I'm in France.
yeah, yeah. But no, I've been living in France now for over 10 years.
Okay.
Um,
So,
and when I first came to France, I had 3 months to learn French to pass the French test to be able to stay in France on a proper visa.
yeah,
Because you needed to pass the French test to get into a university so that I could, that's I wanted the student
yeah,
visa at the
yeah.
time. And that's how I accidentally got into French law school.
Sounds like a story. Yeah.
And there's a lot of really funny differences between the American education system and the French education system.
Okay.
The major one that was very obvious very quickly is that in France they tend to break up their classes between what they'd call it's similar enough to what you have in the States where you have like a practice course, I forget what the term is, and like a practical course and a theory course, this kind of thing.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Praxis. We sometimes call it praxis and
Yeah,
theory.
because it's all based on Descartes in France.
Okay.
Um, and I even I'll get to this. It's very funny. Um, I would ask questions in the theory class, and you're not supposed to do that. You're just supposed to listen to the lecture and write down what the professor says, and then you ask your questions in the practice course, right? And I was asking questions all the time because I just got into France. I was the weird foreigner with the weird accent, and um, and I remember for a group project in some of that very early time, I was just like, I don't get this. And I had one of my classmates tell me, you're not thinking French enough. You need to think like Descartes.
It's just, yeah. Yeah. That's funny. Okay.
But yeah, and then after I got my master's, I started working, and that more or less brings me to now.
Okay. Cool. Think like the heart. That's good advice for us. And if you think, then you are. So that's a good step.
Yeah.
I've got a question in the chat from Basil.
Yeah.
He says, from what I understand, you hope readers use Maneus and Rayon as a means to reflect on and possibly resolve the nihilistic question of despair. if that is the case, then was there a specific experience or moment in your life that prompted you to write these novels? Ooh, good question. And or
Um,
might also be a long story, but maybe you can boil it down.
yeah, I mean, it's not. I don't think it's the worst problem in the world if it's a long story on a podcast.
Sure,
It's
sure, sure.
yeah. Um, a specific example for Maneus. I can say for Maneus it's more difficult because Maneus started as three different stories
Okay.
that I kind of turned into one big story told through three different generations.
Yeah.
Um, and they're all kind of trying to tackle different ways how we confront despair and trauma in our life. But how does that connect to my personal life is less certain, I would say.
What was there an event in your life like where you had to wrestle with the question of nihilistic despair and such, and
Oh yeah, that's every
and
waking moment of every day, right?
well, yeah, and like, but like, was there a turning point where you felt like, hey, I'm gonna write a book about this, or
I can say for Maneus, it's a little weird because it started as an audio drama. I wrote a script for an audio drama first,
cool, okay,
and then that turned into the novel, and that it was always about discussions about the worth of work and how we deal with regret and
yeah,
the decisions we make and the wasted potential that we just kind of left rot.
sure.
Um, and again, like I guess you could say if it relates anything to my personal life, there is a struggle where I have met those crossroads many times in my life where you get the choice between what is the pragmatic right choice, the good choice, and then what is the theoretical, hopeful choice, the one that is your dream that you want to chase after.
Yeah.
Um, and for a lot of my life, I chose the pragmatic things. As crazy as that sounds, after just telling you I moved to France and was in law school accidentally. But believe it or not, that was kind of a pragmatic choice. um,
A lot of people choose a profession that'll pay instead of what they're.
yeah, well, I wasn't in it for long. I was in it for like a month or so and switched into a more international relations languages things. I lied and said I knew Spanish and then had to learn Spanish very quickly. But
Okay.
um, I do think that Maneus is me probably digesting some of those regrets where I chose a pragmatic thing, and even though it was the thing that made more sense and should lead to a better life, it always made me feel worse.
Hmm. That might tell you something. Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe there's more to life than just pragmatism. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, thanks for sharing. I think a similar follow-up question Molly just asked. Do you think writing Maneas helped you work through some of those feelings or experiences too? Do you get any of the catharsis writing that you hope the readers get from reading?
Um, do I get any of the catharsis is an interesting one.
Hmm. Yeah,
I know that I was very focused on hoping that readers got catharsis.
yeah,
I can say for Maneus, there were several moments where I felt like I was holding back that kept happening, right? Because some parts of Maneus get kind of intense.
but
Uh,
like like content wise or just intense happenings in the story.
intense kind of content wise, where there's kind of abuse happening.
Okay.
Um, not kind of, there is.
I mean,
Yeah,
trauma comes from something. Yeah.
yeah. And there's a lot of rage, right? The main characters are dealing with this rage, this burning rage that makes them do kind of superhuman acts of strength
Okay.
because they're fighting this primordial evil. Um, and I would say that there were times when I was worried about what people would think of me, and I held back, and I didn't write down exactly what I thought would make the most impact. But then I went back and I rewrote everything. And I can remember taking off those breaks and being like, if this is too far, I can worry about that later. But I need to be honest with myself going forward.
Hmm.
And I don't know if that's catharsis, but it was definitely freeing.
Okay, that's a form of catharsis, I would say. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not the expert on catharsisology.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Good.
especially I also felt that if I'm going to have these kind of heavy subjects in here, especially when the abuse gets the most intense, it's about asking questions of a very vague way to put the question that it's asking is, can someone who is very bad to their spouse, can a wife who's very bad to their husband be a good mother or be a sympathetic mother?
Hmm. You write complex characters who are not all good or bad because that's how we are in
Yeah,
life. We don't like to think of it, or we
yeah.
I sometimes wish it was simpler, but we all
And I
have.
think, yeah, and I think it's not asking that, just asking that question isn't as good as forcing people to confront that question.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay, yeah. So you want to help your readers explore some of that, maybe confront
Yeah.
some. Okay, okay. Yeah, thanks for sharing. These are great questions that the audience members are asking. I wish I had thought of some of these, but but no. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, keep them coming. Yeah, audience members, keep them coming. We got a little bit of time left.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I wanted to ask you, what do you think? What is one of your biggest struggles in the process of writing or editing? Is what's one of the hardest parts of the process for you?
My hardest thing is caring about punctuation, probably.
Mm.
Because especially because I switch between languages and the rules change from one language to
Are
the
you
next.
saying you don't care about punctuation, or you care too much
Not
about?
at all. I don't care about punctuation at all.
Well,
It's something that annoys my proofreaders a lot. But,
like Cormac McCarthy didn't use punctuation, neither did E. E. Cummings much. So you're in good company, I guess.
well, it's I can tell you when when I write my first really sloppy first drafts, if it's not on paper, I write them in Notepad
Okay, wow.
because I hate getting distracted by like little squigglies and all.
You squiggles in my other word. Okay, okay. You're
Yeah.
one of those, huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good to know. So maybe a guilty pleasure or a guilty habit of not caring about.
Yeah. There is there'll be sometimes like if you have the I think this question is usually getting at things like writer block or what are like when you lose inspiration or motivation. And for me, I always think of these things as the metaphor I use as a train, and you have to buy a train ticket, and maybe you miss your train, but you can catch the next one. You just have to wait for it to arrive,
Hmm. Okay. Yeah.
and maybe you'll have a detour. You won't have the express train. You have to make a few stops along the way. And
That's often how inspiration works, or just getting creative work done. Yeah, I don't necessarily rely on inspiration. But often in our busy lives, just the work itself happens in fits and spurts. So
yeah.
yeah, there you go. Okay, okay, good. What about a big strength in your writing? Like, what's the one thing, or hopefully more than one thing, but what's one thing you think your books do really well?
I hope the thing that my books do the best is they entertain the reader because I want that to be first and foremost. I want it to be something that entertains people. I want it to
Sure.
be um, something that lets people see the world that I have in my mind.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay.
In even if I have these other questions and these other kind of heavy subjects that are there, we can then explore them in this world in my mind. But first and foremost, it's about the performance. It's about
Mm-hmm.
my book being on the stage and having the people reading there in the audience.
You're inviting people into your imagination, basically.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
okay, yeah, yeah, we all want to do that. That's why we're writers. Yeah,
yeah,
we all love a good story.
yeah.
Okay, yeah. It sounds again. So far. I guess we touched on the philosophy. We haven't talked super in depth about the plot, or like,
Mhm.
but it sounds like there's a good story and some.
Oh yeah, well, we can have a fun thing. I can read the back of the book if you want.
Hey, go for it.
So here's the back of the book for Maneus.
Okay.
I started with overly hopeful thoughts. Fragments of short lives, a generational curse, generational trauma moves from family to family, hymn to harmony, father to son. Whether it's maintaining a simple life in a complex world or finding meaning in long conversations, each generation finds themselves at the bottom of a cheap cup of coffee, at a dirty corner store. From the corruption of a modern city, unmarked paths across snow-capped mountains, and a flight from the distant shores, there's adventure waiting in the drama between destiny and humanity's last hope. Whatever it takes to take one step further into the chaos.
Okay. Yeah. Makes us think. It makes us want to read more. So yeah. Okay. Good.
That's all I can hope for.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, I guess that's kind of what all of our writing is. For those who want to be at least have some commercial success in writing, you want people to enjoy it enough to turn the next page. So
yeah.
Okay. Molly also asked this: what do you enjoy more, when the reader feels what you wanted or hoped for while reading your books, or when they feel something you never would have expected?
So hinting on this kind of the idea of authorial intent, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
And I don't think that I'm the like the lore master, the person who has absolute control over how people should feel about my world and my story. I welcome people to have new interpretations and new insights that they gain from my words. And even if it was nothing I ever expected, I love seeing that. I love seeing how people can find something that even I didn't see.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's the thing. It's like once it leaves once it leaves your mind on the paper and in front of someone else, all bets are off.
Yeah.
You want people. We've all seen poor examples of this, like where we wanted something to get something and it just didn't click, and in our writers'
Yeah.
feedback. But hopefully, there's some good examples too. Where they're like, oh, I never thought of that.
Yeah. Well, generally, for feedback overall, I have this kind of mechanism that I try to think about it, and I kind of developed in the professional world, but I apply it to the novels as well, where you kind of have four quadrants, if you will, and you can have in the top left is where you have relevant and irrelevant, and then you have positive or negative or good and bad, whatever words you want to use.
I like that.
And then you have in the top left, so you have relevant positive feedback. That's good job. You did what you intended, and the reader understood it. If you have a positive feedback that is irrelevant, good job, but you need to find out why they liked it. And then if you have negative feedback that is what you intended, that's kind of, you can kind of ignore it. It's a mismatch of audiences, and they probably just don't like the genre that you're writing in or something.
Yeah, and you can't write for everyone.
And if you have negative feedback and it's something you didn't intend, that's when you have a plot hole where you have something bad that you need to fix.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's cool. I like that. I like that.
Mm.
Yeah, so something for all of us to do. Yeah, I've had 52 plot holes on my journey too. At least I started writing my first draft like over 10 years ago, and I was kind of dusting it off and picking it up and reading it to my writers group, and I was like, there's a lot of problems with it. And I realized some of them as I was going along, but then people pointed that to me too, and I was like, oh yeah. So there we go. Okay. I want to honor your time, so I'll only maybe do a few more minutes to touch up at the hour. But can you tell us a little bit about your publishing process? I think you get self-published, is that right?
Yeah.
And like how did you go about that, and how did you know which path was best for you?
I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know which was the best path.
Good answer. Hey.
Yeah. But I do know I learned all about the traditional route. I sent out query letters, and I learned how to write query letters to find agents. And after getting mountains of rejections, I did the build space thing and just kind of got something out there and was like, I should just do this for now.
I'm just curious. Asking for a friend. The friend is me. How long did you did you send out query letters and try that route before you switch to something else?
Years.
Okay, well, I'm still not doing that. I've only been doing it about a year, not even a year. So I guess I shouldn't give up yet.
Yeah.
People say
I
that.
do think that there's merit to it, right? I think there's a few issues that I have with it where a lot of authors, a lot of writers, they go into the query writing process because they want to sell their books as stories. the literary industry is looking for books that they can sell as products, and there's a mismatch in expectations there.
I see. There is a
Yeah.
market component, yeah, for sure, and I mean it's
And
bigger than it was in previous generations.
yeah, well, I feel like even without the ridiculous dystopia of AI happening, it feels like it's very much the cusp just because of self-publishing on what was happening in the early 2000s with music, where you had major music labels that were kind of thought they would never be toppled, and now you have a legitimate way to kind of do things a more indie route.
Okay. Yeah. So it very much is decentralized and such, and that
But don't get me wrong, I 100% understand the desire to have an agent who deals with marketing and negotiations and all that,
yeah,
less than less than writing aspect of writing.
right. Yeah, I still might go that route, and I've submitted to agents and haven't gotten one yet. So anyway, um, oh here Molly asked, do you think self-publishing completely closes the door to traditional publishing?
That I don't think as well. I think one of the things, yeah, because there's when you haven't self-published anything and you just kind of have manuscripts, I remember this. You live in this fear that if it gets out, you'll be never considered for anything. But I know the truth is that if you can build an audience and a renowned name for yourself through self-publishing, you're more likely to have a positive response from an agent
Yeah,
because you have a public portfolio.
yeah. That's good. Yeah, I'm hoping that will maybe work for me too. Well,
Yeah.
I haven't self-published yet. I've been trying for traditional, but I'm open to self-publishing if it doesn't work
And
out.
if you, I would say because you have mentioned too that you're trimming down your own epic,
I've
right?
come down a lot from where it was. Yeah,
So you might think about releasing maybe if you don't want to do the big thing, take some of that trimming, put that into a small self-published book, just to have something out there.
that's right. Yeah, I've been, since I have superheroes, they all have
Yeah.
an origin story, and
Mhm.
like I was trying to include the origin story flashbacks in the main book, and
Yeah.
someone was like, "This is too much. This is like watching all the like Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, and the Avengers movie all in one."
Yeah.
And well, you're right. So I took those out. I took out a lot of them, and kind of are treating them as their own short stories now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an idea. I like that idea. Thank you.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, yeah. There's also the fun thing about self-publishing is I get to have more creative control, and a part of that is the covers, right? And I want to show this off because it's my sister did the covers for all my books,
cool.
and I like
Yeah,
how they have a kind of a
yeah.
uniform style.
No, the background's a little blurry because of Zoom. So
Oh, can
yeah,
you see
but
now?
yeah, I can see most of them. If you can't see them, just go to his website. It's in the link, or I'll
Yeah.
put it in the event, and you can find them there, or look them up on Amazon. Yeah.
Yeah, or the easiest website to remember if you don't want to click the link is johnbauer.substack.com, where you can get my
Okay.
newsletter and there's information for all my books there.
JohnBauer.substack.com. Cool.
Yeah.
What have you done, or what are you doing for like self-promotion, building an audience, that kind of thing? Has your marketing knowledge come in handy there?
That's kind of my marketing knowledge, interestingly, was never really applied for myself, right? So I had to think of myself as a brand, which was a
It's a
weird
summer.
shift.
I got others to a treasure I cannot possess.
Yeah. And so I try not to make it so businessy. I try to be true to who I am, but
Sure.
it's a process of I still have to have more or less uniform content across platforms and
Personal brand
make
with
sure that
extraordinary.
yeah, and make sure that the fun thing is because it's myself, I can make the brand voice just be the goofy stuff that I like right
Yeah,
now.
yeah. I've had fun with building that, trying to build out.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. What social media are you on? I know you're on X, formerly Twitter.
Oh yeah, yeah, and I post a lot on TikTok under
Okay.
the same thing at Mobius Coffee. I have
At
an
least,
Instagram. Hmm?
at least for the next few months, until
Oh
TikTok.
yeah, oh yeah. Well, I'm not in the U.S., so
I
it's not.
guess in the US, I guess not in France.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Hey, there you go. Yeah.
I have an Instagram. I forget what my username is, but I don't really use it. You can find me there somewhere. And then I have the newsletter. That's my main kind of outlet for
Okay.
updates on what I'm doing.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
And you
So
can, if you want to learn more about my new thing, the prequel to Maneus, you can go to rayon.framer.website to get a little landing page for what's going to come.
okay. Good to know. Yeah. Go to that site. you gave me another one in the
Yeah, you have my portfolio link, which
yeah,
kind of
but
has everything.
we can yeah we'll
Yeah.
shout all of them so we'll find yeah. JohnBauer.com is probably the easiest one, and
Yeah, it's the easiest one to
I'll
remember.
find you
And
on X and TikTok. So okay,
yeah,
where's the best place to buy your books?
Amazon,
For that? Yeah.
because I didn't know what I was doing. I very much enjoy not having to care about logistics, and I very much enjoyed that you can get a free ISBN via Amazon.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
good option for self-publish.
The problem is that you are exclusive to Amazon while you use their ISBN, but it's
Yeah,
also the because it's the way to do indie publishing more correctly is you use Ingram Spark, and so you buy your own ISBN, and then you can wholesale to indie bookstores or any bookstore.
interesting.
When you do everything through Amazon, you get the free ISBN, but you can't sell wholesale. This is we're getting into a very industry discussion right now. But
Yeah,
yeah,
okay, good to
and
know. Yeah,
yeah,
just in case, I'm putting that one in my back pocket for later. Uh,
yeah.
but I'm still trying to publish traditionally, so we'll see what happens with that. But
Yeah.
okay,
You can tell one of the other things is that ebooks don't have ISBNs that need to care about. So that's one thing that
right, right,
you can more freely play around with, and unless you want to be exclusive on Amazon, and that's how you get on the Kindle Unlimited, which is the thing like
yeah,
if people have Amazon Prime, they could read it for free.
okay, still cool. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, cool. Well, thank you. Yeah, so we're at the top of the hour. I know it's Friday night for you, and you're probably having the nightlife of France around you. So, want to
Yeah,
respect.
as everyone freaks out, the Olympics are coming soon, and everyone's not
Uh,
happy about it.
okay, so I want to take your time, and I'm gonna go eat lunch too. But thanks
Yeah.
Tom, for being here with us today.
Thank you
Um,
for having me.
anything else you want to say to the people at home?
Yeah,
About
please check out my books. Subscribe to my newsletter at johnbauer.substack.com and let me know what you think of me, my writing, my books, or anything else, because I always love hearing what people have to say because I believe everyone has a story to tell. It's just a matter of finding the way to tell it.
yeah, authors are not scary people. We live in an age where you can reach out to them online, and it's okay. I've been talking to John online, and he's not scary. So yeah,
Yeah.
reach out to him. Say hi. Yeah. Okay. Thanks a bunch, John. Thank you for being here with us today, answering some more questions. And thank you, those in the audience, for
Well, thank you, audience.
watching and for asking some good questions that I didn't think of. And thank you, just yeah, everyone. As always, yeah, you can go check out John's stuff. I guess johnbauer.substack.com is the link we're giving away. And then you can also like my page, Samuel N. Harris, there for future discussions and content providers just like this one. And you can sign up for my mailing list at the link that's posted that's pinned to the top of the page. When you sign up, you'll get a free sample of my story, Fractured Heroes, with a few favorite scenes that I think you'll enjoy. John said he enjoyed them, so that's celebrity endorsement right there. Um, and as always, go check out John's work too if you haven't already. So anyway, thanks for being here. Thanks again, John, and everyone. Have a great weekend. Au revoir.
Au revoir. Bonsoir.